Hello people and friends. From time to time, you the viewer will view me in a state which you may consider is agitated, angry and fed up and maybe showing signs of despair and all these sorts of things. Well, yes and no really. Do I display them? Yes. Am I really affected in that way? The way in which I'm portraying myself in any particular video? No, not really. There may be an element of that, but I don't carry the weight of any of these things, folks. But what is significant to notice is that you, the viewer, will feel something and then you'll project it back. And in this particular instance, and there's been quite a few instances of late where people have been sending me messages, emails and private comments, and I've been engaged with speaking with my friends, and they've been saying that don't necessarily think that the videos that you've been making are going to do any good, because the vast majority of people, they can't grasp the depth of what you are conveying, really. They're in denial of many or all of their own programs, and they don't want to hear stuff like that. They only want to hear fluffy. But it's always been my philosophy that it can't always be fluffy, people. As much as we would like an ideal world where the world's all fluffy, the reality isn't that. And I think it's due to most people being so broken and not at peace with themselves that they feel this energy. And so when they feel energy which isn't conducive to being greatly settled within themselves, then they feel out of sorts and they don't like it. And so what the viewer does then, they then project back onto me that maybe I should be calmer. Maybe I should not let the trolls and the serpents get to me. Well, they're not getting to me. What happens is, when I come upon the serpents, I see them as an opportunity to learn. And we should all do this, and I've been trying to convey this. We should never shy away from serpents. At least not in the initial stages. If it becomes tedious and you've learnt the lesson, you've learnt whatever it is to be derived from that certain serpent, and it continues and there's nothing more to be derived from it, then okay. Then finish it. Change direction. But we should never shy away from serpents, and we most definitely should not shy away from our own serpent. So whenever people write comments, I will address them and I will engage in them. There's no point in just dismissing all of the things that we don't really think there's value in. I think there's value in everything. And when serpents have come upon the site, then I've learned something from each and every one of them. If only I've learned something about them, the viewer. But what I always do is, when somebody levels an accusation at me about how I should be, I think about that. Because it's important that I do listen to you, the viewer. Because after all, I'm doing it for you. Whatever I am doing here, I'm doing it for you. And if I don't listen to you, then it's evident that I'm not doing it for you. I'm doing it for myself. For my self-aggrandizement and any number of things. Well, okay, so of course, there's a portion of what I'm doing here is for the self, whatever that may be. But the vast majority of it I'm doing for you, the viewer. When I say fluffy stuff, then everybody loves it, loads of thumbs up and comments and this, that and the other. When I say something that appears to the viewer to be somewhat negative, then people go quiet. My friends in particular, they feel odd. They feel like, oof, can't really comment on this. I don't really want to say this to Aaron. I don't want to confront this to Aaron. I don't want Aaron to think that, oh, I'm telling him what to do. He's his own man. He knows what he's doing and all this sort of thing. So it's difficult being in a position like I am. I cannot please everybody all the time. And so this is why I keep it varied. And when I come upon serpents, then why would I want to steer clear of those? They're a part of life. There's a great message to learn from serpents, and so therefore I address them. And I see an opportunity to convey a certain something in a certain way. And I'm doing it because it's an opportunity for you people to learn. Not to close your ears and your eyes and shy away and feel afraid about coming back to the side. Oh, is the negativity still there? Look, people, you've got to get over yourselves. Really, you have. Because all this stuff that you're feeling, you are bringing about. It isn't anybody else, and I've said it 1,000 times. So if something is going on within you, isn't that an ideal opportunity to look at yourself and to see if once and for all you can put something to bed? If somebody is saying something in a certain tone and you're not in agreement with it because it's unsettling you, then look at what is happening. Are you unsettled anyway? Is it that you're just looking for fluffy because you're tired of being unsettled, because you are in denial of your own issues and you won't deal with them? And the last person you want to point these out to you is me. And so therefore, oh, it all goes quiet. Well, this isn't how it is on the hero's journey, people. We'll have to face all this sort of stuff on an ongoing basis. And this is why we need to be awakened and we need to be brave. So, somebody sent to me, it was the girlfriend of a friend and viewer. And I thanked her for it, appreciated it. And you see, if it was a serpent, I would deal with it exactly the same. I would be looking to see what I could learn from it. I would be looking to see what I could convey to you, to enable you to be able to learn something from it. So it's all good. None of it's bad. It's just the interpretation. People write to me and they say, you're not going to like this. Calm down, I'm not getting at you. You know, don't start blocking me, or, you know, don't get all hot-headed. That isn't the case. They've got me all wrong. When I deliver certain videos, I'm acting out that variety of energy, which I consider is the best expression to convey the point that I want to. But other people, you see, you, the viewer, you'll be getting affronted and upset, and you'll be becoming unnerved about it, and it's kind of like, oh, you can feel the energy. Oh, I don't want to feel that. Oh, Aaron, can you please not do that? I like your nature videos. Or, you know, I like it when you are much more calmer. Sure you do. But it all comes back to you at the end of the day. If you get a resolve on the things that you don't like, you'll discover that what it is that you don't like stems from yourself. Because if you sort the stuff out within here, and then somebody's agitating, somebody's saying this and somebody's saying that, you'll just look at it and you won't feel it. And you'll go, that's interesting. Look how agitated that person is. Look at how they've been moved or manipulated by words. I'm glad I'm not like that. I'm glad I've got to resolve on all that rubbish. So tedious. For years and years and years, I was subject to it. But now I'm not. Now I'm free. You see? So, this Serenity Prayer that the girlfriend of the friend and viewer sent me, she had obviously been watching my trilogy of serpent videos and maybe some others, and feels that they're getting to him, you know, they're spoiling him. Because sometimes he can be really beautiful and everybody loves that. But then when he starts to get agitated or looks like he's offended, this, that and the other, oh, Aaron, you shouldn't be that. Well, I'm everything. You're everything. Embrace your everythingness, people. And don't ever consider either one of them to be a negative facet of what you are. It's only negative if it creates negativity within your physiology. If your mind can't transmute that energy. I just simply do not get angry, vexed, or affected by what people say about me. How could I, really? I've been doing this for 5 years, people. If I haven't grown a thick skin in relation to this, then I'd be like this all the time. And I'd be throwing things around and banging and everything, wouldn't I? I let people come. And like recently, I've just let the vipers out. Okay, it's time for that variety of atmosphere on the site. It's an experience for us all to experience. Let's see how it is when the site isn't policed by me anymore. Because quite a few people don't like me policing them. They want to be free. They want to be able to tell me what they think of me. This, that and the other. Okay, so I've granted their wish. Some of you think, oh no, you shouldn't have done that. The site was nice and peaceful until you did that. Well, we've got to find the peace in here. And this is what I've always been saying. Because if we can't find the peace in here, then the shit out there is always going to be having an effect on us. And it's going to be controlling us and ruling how we feel. This is one of the greatest things that I've really been trying to convey to people. You have to become settled. And then nothing else can move you. So, the Serenity Prayer. This Serenity Prayer was written by an American theologian, Reinhold Niebuhr. And he lived between 1892 and 1971. And so this is how it goes. It starts off, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. Now, I think this is the whole focal point of the girlfriend of the friend that sent this, wanting me to, don't let it bother you, Aaron. Find the serenity and accept the things you cannot change. But what I have to get a resolve on within me is, well, how do we know what we can change and what we can't change? How long do we have to try to change something before we realise that we can't change it? Do we give up straight away? Oh, you know, live and let live, you know, just accept everything. I don't think we should accept everything. In actual fact, I think we should fight for the world that we want on a reasonably ongoing basis. Because if we roll over, you can see what's happened to society, people. They've all become shallow husks without any opinions, with no strength. They're all fear-bound. It's not a good state for humanity to be in. So therefore, I don't think that we should accept all the things that we cannot change. Because if some things are so terrible, and we accept them, if we accept murder, people are murderers, people are always murder, if we accepted that, then we wouldn't have jails, would we? We wouldn't have imposing threats upon them that if you do that, then you will probably spend the rest of your life incarcerated. So therefore then, I don't think that we can take this, you know, too literally. But the thing is, you see, like I say, I've been trying to bring about changes in you, the viewer. If I had this serenity to accept the things I cannot change, and every time I came upon somebody, I'm like, oh my God, here we go again. Well, they'll never learn. They'll never learn. If I tarred everybody with the same brush, then I would give up on everybody, wouldn't I? And I wouldn't have the great friends that I've got now, you see. Because I've weeded a few of them out. I've drawn you to me because of my tenacity. Because I don't want to accept that I can't bring about changes for the better. And so That's a positive. But sometimes, you see, if we're banging on and banging on and banging on, and I spoke to Paul at length about this last night, there is a time whereby we have to regroup in our thoughts. We have to look at the situation and we have to go, is this working? Are you, Aaron, going to be banging your head against a brick wall forever? Now, if you look back at mythological figures, even real figures, we'll start with Jesus, with Buddha and Krishnamurti, and many of the gurus that have been about in the not too distant past. Philosophers, indeed, they've been saying it for thousands of years. Know thyself. For goodness sake, people know themselves. But people can't know themselves. They don't want to travel this hero's journey. They don't want to do the work. They want the easy route. And the easy route is denial. So we're living amongst society which is predominantly in denial. So that's the first thing. But this first line, it starts, God. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. Now, I don't want to agree with that either. Because if we have to be entirely dependent on an exterior force, power, energy, higher being, then what do? We're like, please, that's why it's called the Serenity Prayer. You pray to an external force for your own salvation. That isn't the way. That's absolutely not the way. The way is to write God out of this and write prayer out of the title and put something like the Serenity Endeavour. Because people, everything in this life is entirely about us, fundamentally. It all derives out of us. And whatever is in the external, we perceive it internally. So it's all internally. And so what we have to do is then, we can't look up to the sky and go to bed each night, oh, please, 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 try to, save this thing from all these terrible things that are going on. And for me, I'm the most terrible thing. At the end of the day, we're the most terrible thing to ourselves. And yet we've got no clue. We just blame it on everybody else. But if we write God out of the equation and we say to ourselves, how can I attain serenity? Let's have a look at what serenity means, shall we? Just to make sure everybody's clear. Serenity, the state of being calm, peaceful and untroubled. Okay, how can I get in the state of calmness, peace and being untroubled? Well, I think, really, you head for the bushes. You head for the bushes and you don't have anything to do with humanity. That is the only way you're gonna do it, short of being a guru master, whereby you have arrived at a certain position where you know that this whole thing is an absolute illusion. You're properly in touch with the illusion. You look around at the play that's going on and you go, it's a fucking play. I'm not being bothered by any of it. And if they want to come and cut my head off, then so what? It's the end of this little play. But it isn't the end of me, because I know I am something higher, something eternal. So, two ways then to get serenity. Head for the fucking bushes and live on your own. And maybe then even you won't find serenity. If you've not mastered this, you see. If you've not become like a Buddha. And so you see then, how are we going to get this serenity? We have to become a Buddha. Oh fuck, how to become a Buddha? It takes years and years and years. It takes your whole life. You have to put all your energy and all your thinking and all of whatever it is to be a human being. This has to be entirely intent on mastering this thing that we just don't understand. And it ain't easy. So, that's the first line. Then it says, after God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, it says courage to change the things I can. So grant me courage. Well, okay, same old thing with granting. Listen, you can never be granted courage. How could you be granted courage? It's something that you have to find within yourself. And so this whole serenity prayer is nonsense. It just derives from religion, which is entirely nonsense, because it wants you to put your faith in something outside yourself. And just consider this little old me, what can I do? Completely the wrong way to go about it. Grant me courage to change the things I can. Well, I look at this world and I say to myself, hang on, if I'm going to do this, if I'm going to do that, if I'm going to be in the face of adversity and all this stuff, I'm going to need some tools here. Otherwise, I'm going to get my face stamped on. And I'm going to get manipulated and walked all over all of my life. So what do I have to do? I've got to become like a lion, haven't I? I've got somehow to find courage in myself. What's the alternative? The alternative doesn't look good. The alternative, meek and humble and all the rest of it, we've been there 1,000 times. So, we have to find courage. How many people can find courage? How many people can find real courage? I can't see it. I see it very, very seldomly, and I've seen it very, very seldomly in my life. Maybe the greatest time that I ever saw courage was when I was competing in world-class karate tournaments. But there's been other times when people face their own sickness and illness and they turn around to look in what's going on here, and then they decide they're going to bring about changes, and it's not easy. Then you can see courage and you go, I admire you, I respect you. And you see, there's lots of things, lots of positive attributes that then will bestow on this person when he finds courage within himself. Now, nobody could ever say that I don't have courage. They could level at me from time to time that I'm not very serene, but in this particular job that I've got, it's not about being serene. That's not my approach. If people want serenity, then they need to go to somebody like Muji or Sadhguru, somebody like that. They just sit there, oh this and oh that. They don't take anything seriously. They're getting paid for being there, and so they just listen and they don't offend anybody. And they just tell everybody about love and, you know, just try to be the best possible version of yourself. But I've never heard any of them say, look at your fucking shit. Oi, all you muppets that have come out here, what do you want from me? Do you want me to tell you that you're beautiful? You're not. You're fucking idiots. And you're full of programs. And deep down, you're nasty creatures. What do you want to do about it? You've come to look at me for help? Okay, start helping your fucking self. That's the only way you're going to do it. Start looking at your shit. They don't want to hear that. All of a sudden, the fucking place would be empty, wouldn't it? It's pathetic. I'm not that sort of guru, people. I'm not giving you what you want. I'm giving you what you need. Last line. After, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. Wisdom. Let's just have a look at courage just to make sure. The ability to do something that frightens one. To have courage, the ability to do something that frightens one. When you're frightened, you don't bend, you don't run and hide, you don't bury your head. You stand in your face shit. Now you can face it out there, but mostly you got to face it in here. And this is what people don't do. They just deny, deny, deny. You see, it's all going on in here, people. So, the last word then we're going to be looking at is the wisdom. And so what does it say about wisdom? Okay, we've all got some sort of idea. The quality of having experience, knowledge and good judgment. The quality of being wise. How do we get these qualities? How do we get any quality? Do we pray to God? No, we don't. Because if God was going to have given it us, then you would have thought God being all benevolent and all that, he would have just fucking given it us in the first place. Here you go. All these attributes. Now you don't ever have to beg to me. Beg, beg, beg every single night. And for years and years and years I don't answer you, but you still have to believe in me that one day I'm going to. Faith, rubbish, nonsense. So it all comes back to inside again. The quality of having experience, you've got to have experience. If you shy away from the serpents and shy away from all the things that you don't like about yourself and the world, then you're never going to get wisdom, are you? You're never going to get wise. Huh. Interesting, isn't it? Having the quality of having experience and knowledge. If you don't learn anything, if you don't bother to learn, then other people that are going to learn stuff are going to be manipulating you, aren't they? They're going to be controlling you, and they're going to be telling you things that they say is true. You go, oh, it's not true. I've not heard that. Well, you've not fucking heard anything, you know, except telly. And they don't tell you any knowledge or fucking truth on telly. You got to read books, people. You got to look inside your own mind. You got to look at the world, and you got to question, and find your own truth, because that's the only real truth. Good judgment. Good judgment. How can we have good judgment if we've never had bad judgment? If we've never acted bad? If we've never done things that, upon reflection, we can say to ourselves, that wasn't necessarily the best thing to do. If we don't do shit, and we just go through life meek and humble, everybody else telling us what to do, we can never have judgments, are we? We'll go, well, I don't need judgment. It's not good to judge. They said it's not good to judge. They've got judges to do that. They tell us what to do. And so you just close down. You just forget about all this because it's too hard. Learning about judgment. What is judgment? How do we get it? We need experience. How can I get experience? I'm too scared. I just want to get in the car and drive to work and keep my fucking head down and come home and have a peaceful life. Yeah. The quality of being wise. The quality of being wise. How do we get to be wise? By having all that shit and looking at all the rest of the shit that I spoke about. And a whole lot more. Look, 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 look. Listen, 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 listen. Act, 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 act. And then when you've acted and there's been a manifestation of something via your acts, then you look and you question what the outcome was. Was that a good outcome? Was that a bad outcome? Could I act with a little bit more wisdom next time to avoid that pitfall? Yes. This is wisdom. And so, it's a very interesting prayer, isn't it? But we should never treat it as such. We should treat it as an opportunity to look inside at what is going on in this human being, whatever that is. To look around at the world, whatever that is. To look around at other people, whatever they are. They're all very, very philosophical issues, and we can spend years and years and years discussing every single one of them. And at the end of the day, when we've wore our throats out discussing the ins and outs of everything, we'll come to the same place. Can you guess where it is? It's in illusion, people. We'll always, always, always come back to illusion, because that's what this is. So therefore, don't take it too seriously. You may think that you should be, carrying out what you're preaching, Aaron. Well, I don't take it seriously. I've decided to role play. We're all just role playing. That's all we are. I'm going to speak about that in the next video. I'm role playing here. I'm being a chef. I'm serving up platters of steaming hot food and cold salads and sweets and breads and any number of things. And I'm going, do you like that? If you like it, you want to tell me why you like it? If you don't like it, have you got an opinion really as to why you don't like it? Or is it just something somebody said one day? That's not good, that's horrible. Oh, I don't like that, that's horrible. Have you ever tried it? Well, no, but somebody told me it's horrible. You see where we're going with all this? It's immense. It's absolutely immense when you start to think about it. And when you're a thinking person and you see all this stuff, and then you listen to people and you see how they're acting, and you read the words that they say, what can you do? You just have to look. If you don't want any better for anybody else, then you do nothing. You become serene. I'm serene. I'm meditating. I'm all about me. Selfish me. I've got a lot of knowledge, but I don't want to impart it on the sheeple, on the masses, on the idiots. I don't want to cast pearls to swine. I want to stay greedy, and I want to be haughty up in my ivory tower, that I know a lot of stuff, and I walk around with my nose in the air. I don't do that, people. I say, I don't know anything. The more I learn, the more I realise how little I know. That's how it is. But what are we going to do if we don't role play here? Well, if you don't role play, there's nothing to be done. There's no point being here. You may as well die if you don't want to role play. Seems we've come here, this consciousness is having a human experience to play, to be in a play. And so, we don't take the play so seriously, but we have to take it serious enough, because although we as wise people, some of us, when we know that this is an illusion, like Einstein says, it's a pretty persistent one. And so therefore, we're in it for a good number of years, seemingly. And so what are we going to do? We have to take it reasonably seriously. And the reasonable part of this is we role play, but we don't become affected in an adverse way. So therefore we have to derive wisdom somewhere along the way to enable us to discern between the two things, those that we can change and those that we can't, you see. Courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. So we're all here, people. At least I hope all of you who are watching this are somewhere along this journey. And I hope via this friend, I'm going to call you a friend. We've not met yet, and I haven't heard from you, but no doubt there may be an occasion when we do. But thank you for sending this, because you see what's happened. I have dissected it, and I have made a prayer into something that we can use. I'm giving you the option that you can use these words. If it's a prayer, it's no use to you whatsoever. It's just a pure fantasy. And you may as well be praying for Prince Charming, you know, to be climbing up the freaking tower when you drop your hair down. You know, this is the state of things, people. So if you look at these words and you see, what do those words mean? What do I derive from them? Have I got any of the attributes they're talking about? Can I get any of those attributes? Do I want any of those attributes? Questions, 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 questions. Have a good day. Whether you are serene, whether you're exercising courage or wisdom, or whether you're accepting the things you can't change, whatever you're doing, try to make of it what you will, people. And let me know how you're making of it. What are you making of it? Are you making anything of it? Do you know what you're making of it? Have you got a clue? Have you ever looked at anything? Have you ever tried to understand any of this stuff? That's what I'm doing. And I hope you are trying, that's why you're watching my videos.